All right.
What's up? Can you hear me?
Cool. We're live. Yeah, we're live. We're live.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this party started right. Bro, I didn't even start the episode. We got a thumbs down.
Oh, what's up? Sorry, I didn't hear anything you said.
I said I didn't even start the episode and we already got a thumbs down.
Oh, probably.
I'm sitting here like, bruh, the show didn't even
No,
start yet. People
you
thumb
want to hear
down.
petty? You want to hear petty? I created the multiverse channel. Within 1 day, Iron Wolf blocked it.
Really?
1 day.
Wow. That's crazy. Surprisingly, now I won't talk about it. But yeah, no, that's crazy.
Yeah, I saw what he
That's
said on
crazy.
Trophy Life, and I was like, "All right."
Yeah, I didn't even respond to that. Yeah, no, that's crazy. That is definitely crazy. Oh man! All right, so listen, feels good to be back. Another episode of the Inner Circle Podcast, premier podcast for Xbox One. We got a lot to discuss tonight. Well, maybe not too much. You know, right now news is kind of light on the Microsoft front. Besides a few tweets from Phil Spencer, but there's still some things that we could talk about, some things that we could discuss. Leading up into either the next game release or the next big event, there's some indie titles out there that's looking pretty nice. This Candlelight game that I heard was pretty cool. I didn't get a chance to play it yet, but I heard it was really good, really nice. So I do look forward to at least attempting to play it. I heard it's got pretty good reviews. Have you seen it yet?
I've been hearing a lot of people talk about it, actually. I've been kind of surprised with it. It's a Chinese studio, if I believe, and it's really interesting. It's kind of like Unravel a little bit. Like you're on a timer. This seems kind of be the flavor of the season, I guess. Having a little more puzzle focused games with a time limit on it, or some sort of limitation on yourself. It's interesting. Like I might check it out a little later. Like it's just one of those games. Like it has an interesting art style to it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely got to check it out some more and look at the detail. It looked like a very beautiful game, so that's very interesting indeed. So yeah, man. Like I said, I want to thank everybody for stopping in tonight. We're going to get the show started. We got a few topics we're going to talk about. We're going to start out and talk about, Microsoft getting into the handheld market for a particular reason. We'll also focus on Microsoft's digital success and digital success overall of game sales. Game sales are just continuing to climb. We'll even talk about GameStop a little bit. Not too much, though. I don't want to really focus on GameStop. And then, of course, don't pre-order Scorpio. Why would Tick Podcast say don't pre-order Scorpio? So we're going to get into all those topics tonight. You guys enjoy the show. We'll try to get through the show as quickly as possible, do a Q&A if time permits, of course, and go ahead, give us a good thumbs up, share it with your friends and your community. Go ahead, support the Inner Circle Podcast for the best place to get Xbox news, rumors, and of course, logical conversation when it comes to Xbox and Xbox content. So here we go. Welcome to the Inner Circle Podcast. Welcome to the Inner Circle Podcast, the premier podcast for Xbox One. I'm your host, KLRXKL, and with B Money 101 and Anchorman V.
Hey everybody, how you doing tonight?
We make up the Inner Circle. Unfortunately, B is not able to be with us tonight. More than likely busy, or he just wasn't able to make it. So it's just going to be a two-man show. There's nothing wrong with that. We can hold down the fort. That's what we superheroes do. So listen, man, with the Nintendo Switch getting ready to come out next month, trying to become this new hybrid of a console, half handheld, half console. And what's crazy is every time you see this thing, all I ever see is in handheld mode. They put so much emphasis on handheld mode that it just literally looks like a new handheld. But today, Nintendo came out and spoke about a successor to the 3DS, which I have no idea what they could possibly do next when it comes to handhelds. But if they do something crazy, it wouldn't surprise me because Nintendo reeks of innovation, or they try to reek of innovation. So they always experiment in doing things that are much different than the norm. However, I pose this question to you, Sir Anchorman. If, let's say, for example, the Nintendo Switch is a successful selling console, it does something that it wanted to accomplish out the gate. The head of Nintendo believes that this thing is going to outsell the Wii. Not the Wii U, the Wii, which is just astronomically like setting your goals extremely astronomically high. Like, it's one thing to say, PlayStation wants to do better than PS3 or Xbox wants to do better than, Xbox 360. But you want the Switch to do better. You believe the Switch will sell better than the Wii. Man, that is something. That is some sort of goal.
That's a tall order right
there. Yeah, no, definitely, it's crazy. So what wound up happening? He stated that, and I was just flabbergasted by it. But if the success of the Nintendo Switch is serious, if it's a big deal, do you think Microsoft will attempt to get into the handheld market?
I don't think Microsoft personally will, namely because with Microsoft, they kind of divide themselves up into like the three main sectors, and you got desktop, got your gaming console thing, and you got mobile. I don't see them developing a mobile handheld when they already have their hands in enough mobile stuff as it is. I could see them getting more involved in like having mobile games, but I just don't see them getting involved with the hardware aspect of it, of having an actual dedicated handheld console. I don't see them doing that because you're spreading yourself a little too thin. I think as we're seeing lately with all the financial reports coming out, sometimes spreading yourself a little too thin is not the best idea.
Right.
And I don't necessarily know. Like, I think if maybe it would revitalize Sony to go do it, but I just don't see Microsoft doing it. Because even when handhelds were like the top stuff, where everyone was getting really into it, even Microsoft didn't even jump in then.
But here's the thing,
I don't see them jumping in now.
Here's the thing, though. Would it not be cool to have an handheld Xbox, like an OG? Like let's think about this for 1 second, right? Okay, so Microsoft is doing the whole Play Anywhere thing. We already know about being able to play on any PC. The goal eventually for the Xbox platform is to truly be able to play anywhere, and maybe even play remotely from the console or from a server on some type of device. It can be a tablet, a Windows 10 tablet like the Surface, or could they possibly come out with something smaller that is similar to a handheld device, not an actual handheld device, but similar to a handheld device that allows you to maybe port, like have a jack port into the Xbox 360 controller, and you're able to play games that way. So instead of completely building a handheld, you have, let's say, a 1080p screen, the ability to run at 60 frames per second in this device. You eliminate the ability to use it as a true handheld because you actually still need a controller to play it. But it attaches itself to any Xbox One controller in your house and makes it a portable device. And you can take it with you anywhere on a go. And maybe it has some sort of service where it has Wi-Fi, or some sort of service that allows you to get on a 4G network or the future 5G network and play games remotely from your console or from one of the Azure servers in the future. I think if they did something like that, you wouldn't really be entering the handheld market, but you would put yourself in a position to truly be mobile with Xbox instead of relying on a laptop or a larger tablet.
Like, imagine that could be interesting if you made it like the OS, or all you have to do with whatever device it is, it has to be Wi-Fi accessible, where it can download like the Xbox app, and from that point on, you can play those games. But like those like wireless mouse mices. I don't know, like a computer laptop mouse,
Right.
like a wireless USB. Like imagine like you just have like anything that has a USB port, you can just plug that in, and you have connectivity to your controller. And from there, it's streaming games, kind of like PlayStation Now.
Mm-hmm.
But you're streaming games, but playing it to there as well. But it can go to any surface.
Right.
Like with the capability of the cloud and streaming, there's a lot of different options available to you to create something. But I don't think that's really a mobile thing, like the question was. It's not really that kind of deal as much as it is just having interconnectivity between multiple different levels of console and hardware.
Right. Do they? I'm looking at it from the perspective of, could they come out with a 12-inch Surface? Like you got they talked about the Surface phone. Could they possibly come out with a device that is similar to the Surface, but like a really smaller version of a Surface Mini, a Surface Go? Let's call it that. A Surface Go attaches to any Xbox One controller, play games mobilely. Literally walking around with this thing in your pocket or in a small backpack, something like that. That would be. Is that ideal? Do they do that, or they just completely stay away? Because listen, Nintendo seems to be, I won't say pushing all the right buttons, but they definitely have people's attention. I've seen the Super Bowl commercial that they're going to be posting during the Super Bowl, and it's going to gather a lot of attention because it is a hybrid console. You're talking about something that they do very well in Japan, successfully sell those handhelds. That thing sells like water to a whale. It's just an amazing device when it comes to the 2DS and the 3DS. And now trying to convert that into a console, they're trying to attack the market that is their strength, because just having a console straight up hasn't been very successful for them the last couple generations. GameCube was great, but it wasn't an overall success the way Xbox 360 and PS3 was. Wii U was amazing, but Wii was amazing, but Wii had a ton of shovelware. The games library wasn't that spectacular, except for, a few hits here and there. First party, of course, third party support dropped it like a rock in a lake. And, overall, it got left behind by as far as attachment rate and as far as third party support, it got left behind with PS3 and Xbox 360. Then you turn around, they come out with the Wii U as a successor, and that gets left behind as soon as the PS4 and the Xbox One comes out. And that was out a whole year before it. So taking this new approach is something different. I'm trying to figure out or trying to see if this is successful. Because listen, one of the crazy things about the game industry and innovation is when one thing is successful, everyone copies it. It's just like any sport. If you have a basketball team that shoots threes like Golden State, people start trying to build their team around three-point shots. You look at what the Cavaliers try to do, bring in a bunch of three-point shooters to compete with it. If you look at the success of some of the NFL teams, people like to air it out. Everybody's trying to air it out now. Back in the day, the tough, heavy defenses and the pounded ground has kind of died out. Everybody's airing it out. That's the thing. It's a habit. You copy. I don't know if Microsoft copies in that direction, but it would be interesting if they did, because they have a viable platform to do it on, and they don't have to enter the market as a handheld device, but just as an add-on feature that allows you to play mobilely. I think if they did it that way, it would be smart. But I don't know if that is something they want to dabble in until they get their situation right with Xbox One and, of course, Scorpio and, of course, their first party.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. And you're definitely right that when one person succeeds, the other one everyone kind of jumps on too. So one of the things I've been looking for, at least recently, I wanted to see how the success of upgraded consoles was going to be, whether or not that was going to be a viable alternative. So one of the things I've been looking at was the Pro and seeing if the Pro was really selling. And one of the things Sony has neglected and pretty much refused to talk about any sales of the Pro individually. They're talking about chip sales and that kind of stuff in particular. But they did come out and they say that it has exceeded expectations, which as we all know, is just PR speak. It's exceeded expectations, and then they kind of use this little level of, well, it actually exceeded the expectations we had for it, while the Slim underperformed as much as we thought it was going to be. So in a way, it was going over the Slim. Some people misinterpreted that to mean the Pro was outselling the Slim. That's a side thing, no. But it's definitely an interesting thing to see in that if those words are true, that upgraded consoles might actually have a future. And I think the same kind of thing happens with the Switch. If the Switch does well, I guarantee we will see a PlayStation swap.
What? You really think that? I don't know. I don't know if they'll go that far.
If it goes well, people will try to copy it.
I don't know. I don't think it'll go well anyway, honestly. I think the Switch will be exactly what it is, and it will do exactly what the Wii U did. I know a lot of people have confidence in it. I just see them getting left behind again just as soon as, 2 years down the road, as soon as Scorpio and PS4 Pro was doing really, really well, and games are really starting to lean on that development a little bit more and making games for those consoles a little bit more. And I know it's not exclusively, but you start to rely on that hardware and build games around that hardware instead of porting it. I just think that eventually, once those games start to get their own exclusives, PS4 dies down, Xbox One kind of dies down, and they start looking at the next set of consoles that's supposed to come after the Pro and Scorpio, and people just start making exclusives exclusively on those platforms, the Switch gets truly left behind once again. We're talking about just an entire, literally, generation of power over what the Switch is producing. Really, it's not even on the level of Xbox One and PS4. So, yeah, no, it's definitely something I'm not a fan of. I'm not a handheld person, but I just thought it might be intriguing just to get the perspective of, could they enter that market, because of the simple fact that people tend to try to copy success. It's just something that people do. I'm not a fan of any type of handheld device. I probably would never play Switch mobily, like as a handheld, but definitely on a plane, take it with me on trips, open it up as a tablet or try to attach it to some type of television and play it that way. But I wouldn't actually play with it in my hand like, an actual handheld device. I could never play any type of handheld. For some apparent reason, it feels completely awkward and my hands hurt after a while. They just get cramped. So just not my cup of tea.
I understand that. But I mean, also, it does bring up an interesting question that I saw was floating around later, is that people were questioning whether or not Nintendo was going to be abandoning the 3DS for the Switch, and I don't even think they're going to do that. I think they're going to. That's one of the reasons why you see, the battery life is so low.
Right.
That may be not only a tech thing, because at this point in the game, I mean, there's really no excuse for a low battery life.
Right.
I mean, tons of things have long-term battery life. I mean, your phone, even if you're playing a semi-demanding game on your phone, you can at least last, 6 hours? At least that much. At least any phone worth a damn. So one of the things I keep wondering about is, they're not going to get rid of the 3DS market. That's one of their most successful ones ever, but they're going to probably pitch it more along the lines of, these are for your long-term games, like, stick it in your pocket, go and mess around while you go at work or something like that, or you're in school, I guess, and just whip it out. But
yeah, no, I it's definitely something to be intrigued about. I do like what they presented when it came to their games lineup. I was impressed with it. And I can't knock what they're trying to do. I probably will pick one up eventually, just for the exclusives, especially Mario Odyssey. I'm really hyped on Mario Odyssey for some odd reason. But besides that, I don't see the console being absolutely truly successful. I know if there's Nintendo fans in here, you may think I'm a hater. I'm not. I'm absolutely not. I'm truly thinking from a logical standpoint. If they truly wanted to compete with what PlayStation and Xbox is doing, as they are noticing the way the development with PC, they're in the realm of trying to stay relevant tech wise, and I think Nintendo does their own thing and continues to find that the family aspect and the game aspect is what makes them successful. But no one ever looks at them as, I'm going to get this console and make it my only console, especially when games like Mass Effect might not be on it, Red Dead Redemption might not be on it. Like those major third-party titles that people truly want, people really, are craving for, might not be on that platform. And having that as your only platform limits you, especially when it comes to third party, which is what mainly so many people play. So many of us talk about exclusives, but we mainly play, and I guarantee you at least 75% of the time, we mainly play third-party titles. And most of us truly feel that a lot of third-party titles are our favorite games of all time. So it is something that Nintendo really should have thought about. I like the innovation. I like the HD Joy-Cons. I don't like any of the pricing. I heard that their online is going to be like $17 to $24, which is like half the price of live and half the price of
third of the
PS.
price, really.
Yeah, third of the price. Yeah, so that's really impressive on that part. And I heard that they actually may have some type of party chat with the headset where you don't have to use the app. A lot of news is coming out, but it's coming out in like drips and drops. And I'm not a really good fan of that. Everything needs to be pushed out at once so people can make decisions before the console comes out. But anyway, I digress. And overall, I don't know if Microsoft will ever get in the handheld market. I honestly think they shouldn't, but if they did, they can have a viable option with some type of mini Surface device and using, their Windows Store as a place to purchase Xbox titles for Play Anywhere. So I think that'd be pretty cool. All right, so listen, digital sales have been doing extremely well for Microsoft. TICGN recently reported that Microsoft had a crazy increase in digital revenue and software revenue overall. Their software, what's crazy to me is that when we look at the sales of what Microsoft is doing, a lot of times we only get the physical, like the retail aspect of it. And we're like, oh, this game flopped, or oh, this game didn't do well. But digitally, a lot of Xbox titles are doing extremely well. Not extremely well in like the 4 million, 3 million, maybe not even 2 million range, but they're doing extremely well to a point that it's actually generating Microsoft a lot of money. Their software revenue has increased, I think almost like 8.1 or 8.7% year over year. And digital sales overall has increased up to 34% from like 30 or 25%. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. People are moving into the digital age. People are, well, not everyone, obviously. You're not going to move into the digital age if you're doing third world or second world, where you don't have those options for internet and high speeds to download. But people are moving into the realm of digital gaming, and it's becoming a very big deal and being very successful. And even for Sony, I recently looked at some Sony news, and they have been doing extremely well in that regard as well. But Microsoft seems to me, in my opinion, whatever they've been trying to do with Play Anywhere, it seems to be working.
Yeah, and especially when they actually do it right, and the game's worth a damn. Like, it's not just like poorly optimized, because every time that happens, everyone gets torn up about it. It's because you only have a handful of titles doing Play Anywhere as it is, as you need a constant, like each time it comes out, it needs to be perfect, or at least be close on PC. And you can't have this like poorly optimized stuff. And so far, from what I gather, I think, what was it? The newest one on Play Anywhere was Resident Evil 7. And for what I'm told, it's a pretty good port.
Yeah. Resident Evil 7 is actually, I'm not sure if it's doing well as far as sales concerned. My understanding is, I heard that it's doing well
as it is.
Yeah, I heard that they were short on like disc, like retail, like they didn't have enough. They didn't make enough. I guess Capcom didn't have confidence in the game. But overall, the game's gotten amazing reviews. It's one of the best titles for VR. I'm hearing some really great things about the game. It's unfortunate I will never play it.
But is that really happening, though, for Capcom to be a little pessimistic about their own games? I mean, let's look at the stuff they put out lately.
But yes,
Dead Rising 4 didn't sell great, but also was exclusive, so let's keep that in mind. Street Fighter 5 only sold one. Street Fighter V only sold 1.2 million copies after a year.
But both those games were like half-ass games. They were made half-ass. I heard in Dead Rising 4, like
it's Street Fighter V.
Street Fighter 5 came out completely bare bones. Let's just be honest here. Capcom messed that game up themselves, trying to rush out to get out for what's the fighting tournament series called again?
Evo.
Evo, right. Rushing the game out for Evo. They put out a bare bones title, and it wasn't very good. It wasn't very good. The online didn't work properly. The mechanics I heard worked well, but overall it just wasn't a very good title, and a lot of people didn't pick it up. Then they start coming out with seasons trying to improve the great game, but by then the fan base is lost. It's almost like, this is why I don't like when, and I hate that developers do this. I feel like a developer feels they could just throw out a game and fix it while it releases. You can't do that. You cannot do that. I get there's patches. I get there's updates. First impressions are highly important. It really is. ReCore could probably be one of the best platformers on the market, and no one would know because the first time it came out, it had long wait times in between deaths, and it was a little bit buggy, or was buggy overall. And that first bad impression is enough for people to just step away and not even go back to the game after the update. So it's similar to Street Fighter, where people just didn't go back or they didn't pick it up. And the game, so what? Like 100,000 copies from June of 2016 to now? Or something like that? That's insane.
What was it, like within the first month they sold like 1 million copies and it died? And that includes all, like, that was up to current, as in like literally this week. After 1 year, after all the sales, after everything, only 1.2 million on 2 platforms.
Yeah,
that's embarrassing.
And it is. And you, in my honest opinion, they should have, if they really wanted to make a profit off that game. If I was them, I would have worked out whatever I had to work out with Sony, and I would have released the product that I have today on the Xbox. There was a lot of people on Xbox who bought Street Fighter 4. No, absolutely. I think people would have purchased the game. I think Xbox.
I'm not debating that. I'm saying what they should have done immediately is, with the content that they had and the situation they had set up, that thing should have gone free to play and done a Killer Instinct model.
It should have. It absolutely should have.
Have anything else? And what was it? Versus and like online tournament, and that was it.
Now it's just like a bunch of DLC. They've, some of it is payable like characters, but some of the stuff they gave away was just free updates and things like that. I don't know. I haven't played the game. I didn't pick it up for my pro. I don't plan on picking it up because everybody I've spoken to just told me don't pick the game up. And I'm just going to take the advice of people that I trust. So I haven't picked the game up. I know people are like, well, you got to play it for yourself and get it. Yeah, I get it. I got the spiel. At the end of the day, I'm going to pass on the game unless it hits flash sale for $5. But, it's unfortunate that happens to those titles. It really is unfortunate. But for some apparent reason, digital sales wise, the games have been doing extremely well. Forza Horizon 3 has done remarkably well. I believe Dead Rising 4 didn't do astronomical. I mean, the last report I saw was that it sold 700,000 copies.
Yeah, 700, 800, something like that.
Yeah, about 700,000. I'm not sure if that's both retail and digital. But that's nothing astronomical. And then you turn around, you look at ReCore. I heard ReCore did decent, or it did well for what they wanted. Was what Microsoft said. That could be PR speak for all we know, which more than likely it is. And then, of course, what was the other game Microsoft released?
Forza, Forza, right?
Yeah, we have Forza. There was ReCore. Gears, right, and of course Gears of War did well, not extremely well, but I believe it broke over 1 million as well when it came to both retail and digital sales. So, but Microsoft has done great, but I think a lot of people don't look at Xbox Live as a viable platform. Digital sales, free games, backwards compatibility, movie rentals. There's a lot of things that's on Xbox Live similar to any other well, not Nintendo, but similar to the PlayStation, where you have a broad spectrum of things that you can purchase digitally, and it's been remarkable for them. And they have a bigger install base when it comes to subscriptions paid over Sony. And for that's bread in the bank for Microsoft. But overall, I just see digital sales continuing to grow, especially with Microsoft. If you continue to put out the Play Anywhere, give people 2 licenses, and people are enjoying the fact that they have one for PC, one for Xbox, they can play on the go, et cetera, et cetera. It's impressive, and I'm excited about where digital can go in the future.
Yeah, and I need to remember, don't even forget about that. And I would love to see if there were figures on how many people were actually game sharing.
Right.
I would love to see, because I don't think it's that big of a thing. I don't think it's like, 40% of everybody, 40% of Xbox gamers are game sharing. I don't think it's that big. But
I honestly think 20% of the Xbox install base is game sharing. I was absolutely shocked to see how many casual people knew about game sharing, with the home swap. How many people knew about that? And how many people say that they have multiple consoles of their home? They share a copy with their son, or they share a copy with their wife, and they have a console upstairs. They got a console downstairs. I was just talking to my buddy the other day. We were trying to figure out, does the home sharing work on the PS4? Can we swap home accounts on the PS4? We haven't done it yet.
To do it, right?
Yeah, you swap the home account, and what you do is you swap the home account, you leave the account that owns the home console logged out, you log in and you play on the console, and the person who purchased the games from the account that your account is home swapped on, when they buy the game, the license goes to your console because that's the home console. And if you buy a game on your account, it goes to your friend's home console because that's where your account is, and that's the account that's locked for the home console. So the licenses goes to each other's consoles, and the accounts can play the games freely because it's one game, works across all accounts. So at least 20% of people are using this. At least 20%. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, and I try to do something, theoretical in a way where, if you truly look at how many people purchase one title for 2 people, how big does that affect digital sales? How big does that affect exclusives? Mainly because third party you really can't count because you're selling it across multiple consoles. Exclusives are the big ones where it really may hurt because it's only on one platform, and you lose a sale for every person that shares that does the home swap. So my whole thing is, how many people are actually doing a home swap? How many people are purchasing one title and both sharing between each other? And how does that affect exclusive sales? When you look at 360, digital sales wasn't as dominant. It wasn't as prominent as it was back then. Retail was still a big deal. It really was. It wasn't as big as it was. People weren't, just purchasing games and digitally and doing it like that. I'm not saying they weren't doing it, it just wasn't as big. This generation, with the increase in digital sales, going digital software wise, there's so many people that literally has increased overall. I just think that it's a much larger stake in how many sales is being lost. Clearly not significant enough to make a company like Microsoft or a third party or PlayStation say, we got to stop this. We have to figure this thing out. But at some point, the bigger your platform gets, the more people are doing it. Eventually, it may hurt. It may hurt developers. It may hurt publishers.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of game design in terms of how I put this correctly. I know a lot of game design at this point is focusing on, if we didn't have to rely on that first initial $60 purchase, how can we make more money? And a lot of the thought process has gone into more the whole microtransactions aspect of, okay, right. Well, if this doesn't work, can we what if we set up the game so you're able to make more money, or by having what's a good example? What's it called? Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege. I'm game sharing that game in particular, and with that particular title, which is actually free this weekend if you want to play that. It's a free to play game at this point. You can actually grind for everything. It's actually kind of similar to Street Fighter V in terms of the setup. You can grind for everything, or you can buy coins. But if you're game sharing someone else and they buy coins, you don't get those coins. They save to that account, and that's how you can make some money.
But that's what they do already, don't they? Something similar where you can't get DLC. DLC is not shared.
Depends on the DLC sometimes. Like if it's like a pre-order bonus, that's normally shared. If it's like an expansion thing, anything you actually have to download, then it's shared. All the Division stuff that's all open. But anything that you have to buy from an in-game store, nah.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I
don't get that.
I could have sworn that it made it a bit difficult to share DLC. Like if my boy bought, you might be right. Actually, now I think about it, because I think I do have Forza Horizon 2. I have the Fast and the Furious DLC, and I didn't buy that.
Except that was actually free anyway. So.
Oh yeah, well if that was free, then yeah, I guess I don't know. But yeah, digital sales are being it's a big success. It's definitely improving 34% with the introduction of PS4 Pro and the introduction of Scorpio. Larger hard drives mean more downloads. It really means a lot. I'm looking at PlayStation. Listen, let me tell you something about. There's an Xbox show. As a newly inducted PlayStation 4 Pro owner, shout out to J-Dub for the gift. Greatly appreciate it. This whole flash sale thing, which is I think one of the reasons why Sony software success has been so great. You get these these games that's been out for like $5 and $7. Look, people gobble that up. Absolutely. I literally went on there and almost picked up about 5 games for no reason, just because they were $5. I didn't want them. I didn't want them. Dude, this is $5 I want to get. I literally was looking at the order 1886 to myself, bro, this is $5. I think it's worth walking around for $5. You know what I'm saying? Just to see how we're looked in 4K, but something prevented me from getting it, and I didn't get the game. But these flash sales are a big deal. They're serious, and I think that's a big deal for them. Microsoft has their deals with gold, but I don't never see their games, unless it's like a true indie, not a AAA, ever get down to $5. They should really consider doing a flash sale, and I guarantee you. I mean, listen, it was only $5, but if you start racking up games, multiple titles, that stuff adds up pretty quickly. It may be something they should consider. They don't have to do a flash sale; they could do something else. But I'm just saying. Deals with gold is great. I love deals with gold on certain titles, but man, a AAA title drops down to $5 for 3 or 4 days, 78 hours. I think that'd be pretty dope, man. Something they should think about. Definitely. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna move forward. Listen, GameStop is in trouble.
Again?
I haven't been to GameStop. I haven't been to GameStop since I bought my Xbox One. And I don't think I will actually buy an Xbox One from GameStop. I think I'm gonna go to Best Buy. First of all, Best Buy has a way better service than GameStop. If you haven't gone to Best Buy, excuse me. If you haven't gone to Best Buy, they have a membership service. I forget what the name is. For $30 for 2 years, they give you 20% off all brand new games in the store. You basically get a game for $46.99 retail. Now, here's what's dope. You can use that card at bestbuy.com and get the game digitally for the same price. You can get all your digital games from Best Buy for $46.99 brand new. Well, I mean, it's digital, so it doesn't matter if it's brand new, but you can get a digital title for $46.99. And to me, that's a big deal. You still get the same thing you get with GameStop, 10% off. You get the 10% trade-in bonus, et cetera, et cetera. But man, it's a big deal. And GameStop's been ripping people off forever. You get a brand new game, You can't return it if you don't like it because you opened it. You trade it in. They give you not even half the price sometimes. Sometimes you get $30. Sometimes you get 20. A week later, it could be 15. It's all based on demand, supposedly. Now they're talking about telling people not to purchase new games, get the used titles, even though a new game may be $30, get the used game for 55. Listen, the reason why GameStop does that is because that's where they make all their money. All their money is in the resale of titles. They don't make no money on new games. As someone who used to work at GameStop when I was younger, when I was a kid, back in the day before it was, it was Funko Land, and then Funko Land got bought out by Barnes and Nobles, I believe it was, who was a part of the whole Babbage's and what is the other store? You had Babbage's, you had GameStop, you had Electronic Boutique. There you go, Electronic Boutique. And you had these three stores, and they all became GameStop over time. And one of the things that they did was they always wanted you to push used games. Buy this game used. They didn't care if it had scratches on it. You had 7 days or 15 days to return it or whatever, or 30 days. They didn't care. They just was like, if you don't like it, bring it back. But they pushed the used initiative because that's where their money was going into. So for me, it's not surprising to hear that they are stopping people from purchasing new games to sell used games, because that's where they make their money. They literally get like $1 or $2 for every new game they sell, whereas they get a full profit on a used game for $55. If you get a used game that just came out for $55, that's $55 that go to GameStop. And with the success of digital games, that's getting lower and lower. People are buying retail less and less, which means it's less used titles for them to purchase and less traders coming in. So I'm not surprised that they may have been forcing their own employees to push this narrative.
Yeah. I mean, I understand from a business perspective. You want to push what makes you money. I understand that. But where you go to the point where you lie, where you tell people that, oh, we don't have the new copy of the game. Like the scenario everyone has been running through lately is like, okay, Watch Dogs 2 for a time, new, physical, was like $30 or something. It was $30. And it was like, okay, clearly you want to buy it $30 new, but then they would lie and say, well, actually, we don't have that. It's not, we don't have the new one. We have $55 used. And
yeah.
I gotta say though, like I don't really go to GameStop anymore either. The only time I go there is if I'm just showing up for like an event, or
I don't even. I do nothing with GameStop. I look inside that store and I just feel like if I walk in there, I'm gonna get the T virus. That's how I look at it. It just seems dingy. There's boxes everywhere. It's been touched by 1,000 people. I feel like I need to be like Michael Jackson and have some gloves on and a mask when I walk into those stores. It's crazy, man. It really is. I don't know what's going on with them. They are going into, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually just go into full-blown publishing and handhelds and other devices. They've already tried to go into phone sales. They're going into tablet sales. They're publishing games now. It started with Insomniac's. What's that game called? A little submarine indie title.
Song of the Deep. Like that.
Song of the Deep. Yeah. So they've really gone into this narrative of publishing games, trying to find new ways to be successful because their old business is falling apart. It really is. They did a lot of these mom and pop stores that used to do this no longer exist. I remember at one point there was a company called Plug and Play, where you could take in old school stuff like 64s, atomic green 64s, and purple and pink and all these things, and Super Nintendos, and you would trade them in and they would give you credit for it. That doesn't even exist anymore. Like, those stores are gone. So, a lot of these retail shops are disappearing, especially when it comes to trade-ins. Well, not really trade-ins, but especially when it comes to sales, because everybody's starting to go digital, or digital is getting bigger. Let me say that. But I still think there's a market for trade-ins and getting credit and putting it towards new devices. It's one of the reasons why I really like Best Buy's policy with this. I forget what is it called, the game something program, where all you do is you have your phone number attached or the card number or whatever it is, and you just literally get 20% off new games. To me, that's just a big deal. 20% off new games. People always buy these games new for $60 a pop, and getting one for $47, $46.99 is pretty sweet. Let alone getting it digitally, to me, is already a big improvement over what GameStop offers. So I go to Best Buy, man, for all my stuff. I get my headsets from there. I'm going to get my console. I'm going to get the Scorpio from there. I wind up picking up the Pro from there. It's just, to me, it's just a better store. I think the problem with them, in comparison to GameStop, is that they push a whole nother narrative. They got TVs, and there's home appliances. There's just a whole bunch of other things, and their gaming department really isn't a focus. But if they made it a focus, I really think, honestly, they could probably dominate GameStop, in my opinion, which would be crazy.
Because it used to be the GameStop, the big benefit GameStop or dedicated game stores gave over everything else is you had people who knew what was going on. That was pretty much the only reason I ever went to GameStop. It was like, hey, you clearly know what's going on. I mean, it used to be about trading in games, but now everybody does that. I mean, it's not that big a deal. But like with them in particular, it's like, I don't need you anymore. I don't need you forming my opinion. I have YouTube for that.
Definitely.
Like, it's the consumer base. I don't feel like they don't. It's not like the early 2000s where you went to GameStop for their actual opinion because you didn't know. The internet wasn't that big of a deal yet. Like you didn't have a community to talk about stuff. It was just people you knew in your immediate circle, and then people who specialize in this stuff for a job. That was kind of it, though.
Dude, what's crazy was that the people at GameStop barely knew anything. Like, you ever go to a GameStop and ask somebody about a game and they couldn't really tell you about a game? It's an embarrassment. It's almost, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like you going to an auto shop and asking for a part and they don't know what the part is. You have to be informed on what you're selling. You have to have some knowledge. I'm not saying you have to know every game. You're not going to know every game. You don't play every game. But at least the big major AAA titles, somebody in the store has got to know something. But I don't know, man. It's just crazy. It's definitely crazy. And it's just an amazing situation that they've been in hot water, and the gamers aren't standing for it. They've been speaking out against it. I think they came out recently and talked about how, that's not what they were pushing or not what they were saying. Just they're in defense mode at this point. And it's unfortunate, but GameStop, it hasn't done anything for their reputation but made it worse. It really has. And that's unfortunate for them. But what's unfortunate for Xbox? Did you hear about this rumor about DLC only going to PlayStation and PC and not going to the Xbox platform for free? That the Xbox gamers have to buy this stuff?
Wait, what is it? Oh, sorry.
All right, so I'm not sure what game it is. I didn't get a chance to look it up. There's a game about to come out. It might be Sniper Elite 3. I'm not sure. I'm not 100%.
It's not Sniper Elite 3. It's Sniper Ghost Warrior.
Okay, so Sniper Ghost Warrior. So Sniper Ghost Warrior is getting DLC for free on PC and PlayStation. This is Season Pass. But the Xbox gamers have to buy it full retail. What do you think about this?
I've actually been looking at it for like the last 20 minutes. I'm trying to figure this out because I'm looking on my Xbox here, and what I'm trying to figure out is because the ad itself, I'm looking at it right now. The way the ad's set up, it has on the left-hand side, it says it has the PC and PS4 edition, but it's not the edition, it's the Season Pass edition.
Right.
And it says what's in the Season Pass, and it says like 2 missions, 2 multiplayer maps, a new vehicle, a new gun, and a compound bow. And it says go behind enemy lines and expand Sniper Ghost Warrior 3 with a Season Pass. All right. On the right-hand side, it says it has the Xbox version on the picture, and it says limited edition, and it says this game and the bonus content includes. It says the limited edition gives you access to one of the missions, one of the weapons, one of the vehicles, in the full game. And so, I don't think it is the way everyone's interpreting it.
Okay.
Like, I think it's stupid picturing and placing because it makes it look like the PlayStation PC version has this and the Xbox version has this. I don't think that's actually true because I'm looking at right now the game as it is, and it says there's the pre-order version, and you have the full game, the one mission, the one vehicle, and the compound bow. And it's like, okay, is that the limited edition? I'm just making sure here. I don't know if that's available on PlayStation, but right now it just says there's a season pass version. I don't see that on Xbox. I'm just trying to clarify here because it's the first time I've seen it.
Right, and I think that's what everybody is saying, that the season pass version is free on PC and PlayStation. But now listen, again, I'm speculating. I don't know if this is true. I didn't get a chance to do research on this. Normally I do. That's why I'm bringing it up right now. I'm just trying to get theoretical thoughts from Anchor on, something like this actually happening in the industry. What type of precedent does this set for developers and for gamers overall? But if, say, for example, they do have free DLC, free season pass for PC and PlayStation, and the Xbox version, the Xbox gamers have to purchase it at, let's say, $29.99 for the year for the pass. What is that about? Like, what would that be about? Is that a marketing deal? Do you think that would be a marketing deal? Could that even be a marketing deal? Is that even fair? I know gaming is not fair. Exclusivity is not fair. But we're talking about the difference between, like, at least with exclusivity, the person purchases the game and it's not on the other platform. There's never been a precedent where the data is on the platform, but one group of people gets it for free and another group of people.
Well, that's happened before,
pays for it.
except it's not. Except normally you just don't get it, like Destiny or all the Ubisoft games deals with PlayStation, where it's like, oh, exclusive mission, exclusive armor, yada yada yada.
Right. I mean, I see that. I mean, that's like Hawkmoon with Destiny or whatever, and it takes a year to get to the Xbox, but it's there. It's purchasable. My thing is, what if DLC is free regardless for one particular platform, and if you have to pay on another? Do you think a developer would have the balls to do that?
I don't know. Let me do a little research here real quick. Who makes this game?
I don't know who makes the game. I don't play any of the sniper games. I really don't. It's not saying it's not my cup of tea. I'm not into military shooters. For some apparent reason, I'm just not. It's not my cup of tea. If you look at my library of titles, which you can look me up, KOR space lowercase x space KAL space EL, KOR XKL on Xbox. That's my GT. You can look up my gaming history. And I do have Call of Duties. I do have Battlefields without question. I literally played them for the multiplayer. I really complete stories. I think the last story I completed on any military game was Advanced Warfare and Modern Warfare 1 or 2. Which one had the airplane scene where you shot everybody up and everybody was losing their minds over that?
That was 2.
2. Modern Warfare 2. Only time I've ever completed a campaign on Call of Duty. And I've never completed a campaign on Battlefield. And I had Battlefield 1. I haven't even touched the game yet. But games like, I won't say Killzone because I didn't beat Killzone, but Halo, Gears, a lot of sci-fi stuff, a lot of fantasy stuff, RPGs, action adventure, open world titles, Grand Theft Autos. I'll play all of those games. For some apparent reason, that's my thing. That's my thing. That's what I do. I don't do horror. I don't do military shooter campaigns. I find them extremely boring. I don't know why I find them boring. I just find them boring. But everything else, that's my cup of tea. So
All
it's
right,
just
I'm
it's
taking a
pretty
look at
crazy.
this. All right, this company is called CI Games. They're from Poland. They make
Okay.
no good games. We're just gonna start off the bat with that.
Okay.
Art of Murder, Battle Strike, Brain College, Code of Honor. I've never heard of any of these games. Redneck Kentucky and the Next Generation Chickens.
That's insane. Are they coming
Never
out with
played that.
DLC for free on PS4 and PC, and the Xbox gamers have to pay for it? Is my question.
I don't know what to say. I really want to drop the F bomb right here. I want to go on
What?
record with that. I swore off the F bomb for New Year's resolution. Did pretty well about it so far. I've really tried.
We're not repeating the F bomb on this is a family show.
I'm not
Okay,
gonna say
buddy?
it, but I want to say it right now.
It's bad enough Nicodemus putting racial slurs on the Tit Network channel, slipping up. I couldn't even bleep that out.
Here's the thing. I'll say this now. I'll drop a different F bomb. If you support this, you're a fraud.
Wow.
It doesn't even make sense, because if it would be something if it was like, okay, Sony paid, like, ponied up money for it, and they threw money down on it and say, okay, we're gonna get some exclusive DLC, or we're gonna get it like some little extra for our guys. But PC and PlayStation,
Yeah, that's weird, right?
highly doubt that these developers walked up and said, hey, pay us some extra money, and we'll throw in this little stuff for free. But Xbox said no, or I don't know how they even go about doing this. That doesn't make sense. It seems to me that this is just some either oversight, but perhaps maybe it's I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was an oversight, and they just said, "Oh well, there is no season pass on Xbox currently, and we have
Maybe they hate
neglected
Xbox
to
like
say anything about it."
maybe they hate Xbox like 60% of the world already.
Oh man,
Poland. Think about that. Think about that for 1 second. No, I don't want to do that. Let me not do
there's
that.
no reason to do that though. I'm just like, geez.
I don't know. That's just where
I'm not buying it anyways. Like, I was never going to buy it.
I wasn't,
Like,
but I'm just saying.
definitely not going to buy it.
It's definitely crazy to even think that a developer would do that in the first place. But hey, that's something we need to investigate. We definitely need to investigate that. I would love to get these guys on the red carpet and talk with them just to pick their brains. Like, what was the thought process in deciding to do the game this way? Definitely will want to do that. All right. So listen, Phil Spencer, the big dog himself, the box father. By the way, that is a name that I created. Don't ever let anybody tell you different. Okay. I made the box father. I was the first person. I should coin that and trademark that. Now, let me stop. All right. No, but I am the first person to do that. But the box father himself came out and he was talking to one of the amazing Xbox fans out there, and he was speaking about being interested in picking up a Scorpio, wanted to know when he could pre-order it. Phil Spencer came out and told him, don't pre-order the console yet. Wait till you see the games. That could have went two ways, and it was two ways people took it. All the Sony fans, I won't say the Sony fans, I keep getting that mixed up. All of the fanboys on the Sony side of the fence sat up there and they said, Microsoft isn't confident in the product. They want you to see the games look good or not or whatever. They don't think Scorpio is going to do well. It's just like the PS4 Pro, yada yada yada. And then on the other hand, you have the Xbox guys, like they're so confident in Xbox that they don't want you to pre-order it. They want the games to speak for themselves, and they're going to show these things off and stuff like that. Listen, all I know is this. Based on, and Anchorman is here today, we can talk about this once again. I keep bringing this up. Based on what we know, what we learned at E3, I truly believe that Scorpio is going to be I won't say in a class by itself, but definitely a cut above the rest. It's really going to set itself apart. People talk about games. What type of games is going to have it? It doesn't have any games. Whatever games is out on Xbox right now is what it will have, and any games coming out in the future is what it will have. I'm kind of sick of this narrative. People saying that Microsoft doesn't have games. Let's fix this narrative and just say Microsoft doesn't have games you're interested in. Because that's truly what it's all about. Listen, we lost Scalebound. It is what it is. You still have Crackdown coming out. You still have Sea of Thieves coming out. Halo Wars 2 is about to drop, which is actually getting a lot of great feedback preview-wise. And I think that's actually going to do amazingly well review-wise. I'm hearing great things about it. But at the end of the day, to sit up here and say that Xbox doesn't have any games, it's just a dumb narrative. It just as dumb as it was back in the day when 360 guys used to be like PS3 has no games, even though for a few years they didn't have any games. At the end of the day, they eventually got a ton of games, and there was plenty of games to play. And that same thing right now, Microsoft may seem like they're in a drought and stuff like that, but people was playing Xbox games for the last 3 years with no problem. There was indie games. There was games that was coming to preview that wasn't on that wasn't on PlayStation 4. There's games being shared on PC. I don't know how long they've had Elite Dangerous and Ark before that even went over to the other side. You had MMOs like Neverwinter. There was a ton of games that were literally exclusively or timed exclusively on that platform for a very, very long time. Not to mention whatever first-party titles that they put out or first-party owned IPs made by third-party titles that they had put out. People tend to forget about all the smaller games that they had dropped, like the Kalimbas, the Master Curse of Brotherhoods, the Crimson Dragons, and the Killer Instincts. People never talk about Killer Instinct when they look at these titles, or the Rises, even if they don't own Rise, even if they don't own Sunset Overdrive. Those are games that is on Xbox One and will be on Xbox Scorpio, if not bumped up because of the scaling ability. I just find it asinine that people sit up here and try to downplay the console. Now, E3 is coming up. It's going to be a big deal. It seems like it's going to be a big deal. I feel the team is starting to hype it up a little bit. They're getting real confident in what they're talking about when it comes to E3. I'm excited to go this year. And I'm definitely hyped to see what they put out. I think they're going to put out some new stuff. I think they're going to wow a lot of people. And I'm really looking forward to what they show on Scorpio. Now, at the end of the day, I still feel they need to do a show early. I still can't stress this enough. I just feel like there's no way you can go 6 months, an entire half a year, without giving people something. I'm not saying give up your whole lineup. I'm not saying blow your show. But definitely, please, Phil, if you're listening to the show today, please do an event for Scorpio early. Just get it out the way. Truly get out the way. Listen, it's going to be amazing at E3. You'll blow the doors off if you do it at E3. But honestly, we just want to see what you guys got coming out for the rest of 2017 and what you guys got planned for 2018. And to me, filling the complete E3 show with first-party titles, second-party titles, and maybe a few third-party marketing deals. You throw your little indie clip segment in there, which I don't know what's going on with the Idea Xbox program. So many games have been lost, so we'll talk about that another time. But Microsoft really needs to take this approach and try to show what they can show early to get a lot of the nonsense out of the way so they can reinstill some of the confidence in some of the Xbox fans or people who were interested in Xbox that, listen, we still have games. We still have games coming. This is the Phil Spencer era, and this is what we are producing.
Yeah. They definitely need to be making some more of these games. It is just, a lot of it is this time of year where I'm so glad we're out of January. Thank God. January is just one of the worst times to be a gamer, where some people are still off work. No real games are coming out that hard. And it's such a weird time. This year was a little easier than years past because we had at least a couple of games coming out.
Right.
But it's really funny, especially as an Xbox guy. It gets really odd because as an Xbox guy, this particular season was easy. It was really easy to keep fanboy talk from PlayStation and such all down. It was really easy because Xbox is on top. Like from August to December,
yeah,
we got games coming out. They're doing well in sales. It's all this good stuff on top of each other. But it's just this beginning section here. It is hard as an Xbox gamer because you basically hunker down, get in your backlog, and you're going to be here for months. Just rocking back and forth in the fetal position, just waiting for something else.
You an idiot.
That's the situation, though. I mean, it's really tough as an Xbox guy because and the PlayStation guys are feeling all confident now that December's over. Like, time to stretch a bit. Coming out
they
like
got some of their games coming
Day.
out early. They got a ton of games coming out. I'm not even gonna lie. PlayStation has a lot of games out right now that's really impressive. Neo's been getting a really good set of reviews. Yakuza 0 got a lot of good reviews, and I got recommended to play Yakuza 0 because I'm a Shenmue fan, and somebody told me that that's actually better than Shenmue. So I definitely want to give Yakuza 0 a try. But listen, end of the day, there's still a ton of games that came out last year that people still play. Forza Horizon 3 is still a big title. Halo's still a big title. Gears is still, I haven't even beat Gears yet, and I'm still playing the game off and on with my buddy. My backlog of games is just extremely high. Final Fantasy 15, I had to take a break because I wound up making myself so OP. The game got kind of boring because I was just killing everything on sight. And I'm like level, 44 or 50 on chapter 4. Like, it's crazy at this point. So I had to take a small break from that. I'm back on Arc for a little bit. I'm probably gonna hop back on Watch Dogs. Like, my backlog is crazy. But first party wise, Microsoft still has Cuphead supposed to be coming mid 2017 based on what I've seen at their studio. What is it called? MDHR. A lot of people are trying to figure out where is Cuphead? Cuphead is canceled. Cuphead got bumped to 2018. Cuphead is set for mid 2017. I don't know what that means. Mid 2017 could be August, June, July, May, who knows? But it's supposed to come out around that time. Ashen is another title that I was really excited about. We did the whole red carpet with them. Was really impressed with the game. Like I said before, if you haven't seen Ashen, check it out below on our playlist. Look up on the red carpet and look up Ashen. Great title. Another great title that we actually brought to the Xbox is Pisces. Another title that is a really great title that I know Microsoft was helping those guys with and stuff. And I definitely want to reach out to Chris Charlotte to find out what's going on with the Idea Xbox team, because Adrift was supposed to come to the Xbox and it didn't. That wound up ending up on PlayStation for some reason. There's like 3 or 4 indie games that was supposed to come to Xbox through the Idea Xbox program and didn't. And I see them in the PlayStation store. And I'm like, what the hell happened there where they lost those games? So just very fascinated at what Microsoft is doing on that side and why they're losing these games, why they're losing these titles. I would definitely like to pick Chris Charlotte's mind about that and maybe even DM him to find out what's going on that front if I can't get him on the show, because right now Microsoft is being very stingy with their employees. But it's okay. I get it. which is pretty crazy right now. But yeah, man, Scorpio, I think, is going to be fine. I think a lot of people are over exaggerating what this year is for Xbox. And I think that a lot of people are underestimating what Scorpio will be. And I think a lot of people are overhyping what Scorpio will be. People have to understand that this is not going to be something where you're going to get ultra settings at 4K. If you think you're going to get ultra settings at 4K, you're fooling yourself. If you think you're going to get high settings at 4K, you're probably fooling yourselves. I don't think that's going to happen at all. That is not what they're shooting for. If they're going 4K, they're going to give you the best graphics they can give you on Xbox One and up-res it to 4K. And that's what you'll get native 4K. Now, the game will look amazing. It will run amazing. More than likely be 60 frames per second, which is exactly what they have. Dynamic resolution scales up with UWP. So games like Halo, games like Gears, games like Forza, those games will be 4K off the bat. For all the games and third parties that don't go 4K, you can always just do the sparse rendering and do the res bump and just do it upscale that way, and then just improve the effects, improve the lighting, improve the textures. You could do all of these things, which will make the game look 10 times better in an upscale 4K or native 1080p, which I think is something that they may possibly do as well. But they're giving developers options. And I think people have to recognize that you have options. And the device is broad enough to handle all of these options. But perspective is important. It has to be at a reasonable price. $500 to me is the money spot. It gives it a price where it's a premium device, and at the same time, the enthusiast will buy it for $500, and over time it'll drop in price to $400, and then $350 you'll have sales, it'll drop in price or whatever. But that $500 mark is where it needs to be with no connect. It has to have no connect in it, but the connect needs to be backwards compatible, and gamers need to be able to trade in their Xbox One S's or their regular Xbox Ones towards it to get it at a cheaper price.
Yeah, I don't know. Having the multiple SKUs definitely helps with it, though. I think if they come out and say, "Hey, $400 minimum, and you can buy it for $400," they're golden. That's great. Right. But I think $500 is kind of the max. I can't see them going above much more than that for like the top tier work. And even then, I don't think it'll be like that big of a bump, really, or even any bump. But they'll find ways to keep the price down.
I don't think so. They just said that AMD just came out and said the Ryzen chip is coming out in March. So for all those people who think that the Ryzen chip might not be in Scorpio, listen, if Sony can put the DDR5 RAM at the last minute into their consoles, there's nothing stopping Microsoft from, and I guarantee you that whatever chip they have in is some type of hybrid of the Zen chip. It's definitely some type of hybrid, maybe a hybrid of both the Zen. It has some features of the Zen. It's not a full Ryzen chip. Maybe it's not a full Vega chip, but this is definitely a hybrid. I know for a fact that the Jaguar is it's not the CPU that they're using. They're not using that CPU. So people could throw that notion out the gate right now. So we'll see what happens. Nothing is 100% guaranteed. This is just based on my own personal information that I know and evidence that I got from Phil Spencer and the Xbox team and stuff like that. Anchorman also heard AMD talking about Scorpio at E3. And if you didn't see that E3 podcast, what he spoke about was what he heard them say was that what Microsoft requested from these developers was base specs. What is the minimum specs they need to get 4K gaming and VR at high fidelity? That's where the 6 teraflops came in. That's where the 12 gigs of RAM came in. That's where the throughput come in. And that 320 throughput is actually not actually 320. It's actually above 320. It's 320 plus. Above, over 300. That's the key word. If you ever go back to that video, they say over 320 throughput on that CPU. A lot of people just stick with 320. So it tells you a lot about the console. That console is going to be a beast CPU-wise. You're talking about the RAM, you're talking about the throughput, the speed of the CPU is going to be crazy. And then you put a unified GPU in there with GDDR5. People saying X, it's not going to be X. Get that out of your mind. More than likely it'd be GDDR5 and 12 gigs of that. That would be a beastly console. It would definitely be a beastly console and something that can definitely play everything that we want to play and make the games look good and play at an amazing fidelity. Seriously, I could imagine what Killer Instinct will look like on that game and the amount of speed, how fast that game might possibly be. Just playing single player all by myself or something like that. Could you imagine if they were able to allow you to play that game at 1080p, but bump the frames per second to like 90 FPS? How crazy would that be? How crazy? How fast would that look? You ever play with Saberwolf and then like do his charge attack, like do his super, and how fast he moves when he's in that energy mode where he's going super quick? Imagine doing that at 90 frames per second. It'd be insane. Absolutely would be crazy and incredible. Oh man, I'm hyped. I'm hyping myself up for it now. This is hype. I'm getting hype. I can't wait to go to E3. I'm excited. Oh, Anchor, I wish you can go, but I know you got a new job. I feel sorry for you.
Someone's got to make money. Jeez, someone's got to support Take.
Hey man, listen. You do your job, Wonder Woman. I'll continue saving the world.
No, I'll take Captain Marvel. Thank you. Jeez.
No, Captain Marvel is not a part of the Trinity.
I don't care.
The Trinity. Okay.
Trinity just bring apparently that's all that matters,
some homeless kid off the street.
You bring him into homeless kids now. That's
it's the Trinity. Okay, you stick to your job and you wear what you wear.
Wasn't Superman an orphan?
Hey, listen, don't hate on my home planet. I survived it. Okay, it's not my fault it got blown up. People don't want to listen. All right, they didn't want to listen to Congress, and they just doing whatever they want to do, and the planet just died. My parents was lucky enough to save me. They saved up all their pension money and got me a ship. I got off that planet. I'm on Earth now, so It is what it is.
Yeah, not on Planet Xbox either, Mr. Trader.
I'm not a traitor. Fame is a traitor. Okay, Fame talking blasphemy stuff now all of a sudden. I don't even know how you can have a double XP show with 2 PlayStation fans. That doesn't even make sense anymore. Oh man. Anyway. So listen, that's it for the show this week, man. Greatly appreciate everybody stopping in. Great feedback. I'm very grateful for everybody stopping in this late to hang with the Tick crew. Hopefully you were entertained and you got some great information from us as usual. What time is it right now? It's 12:30. How you feeling, Anchor? You gotta get up in the morning?
Oh man, I gotta get up in the morning every day.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for the show this week, man. Listen, we'll be back next week, Thursday at 11 p.m. to do another Tick podcast. I have a ton of stuff going up this week. If you haven't hit the channel, definitely check out the channel. A lot of PAX interviews is up there right now from our correspondent team that went down to Texas and was at PAX South. Cosplay videos. Check out some of the outfits that was at PAX South. We got a great gameplay spot of Rhyme. Rhyme looks amazing. Rhyme looks amazing. I'm really hype on Rhyme. Definitely check out the video with Rhyme. I'm going to be posting my interview with Jordy Nelson, who is one of the guys over at what's his name of the studio? Kaokin Studio, who makes Deliver Us the Moon, a new indie game coming out for both Xbox One and PS4. They are now actually picked up by Starbreeze Studio, and he has a lot to talk about, so don't miss that interview. And guess who we had on a show last week? We did an interview with Mr. Adam Boyes. This was going to be a surprise show for everybody. I was so excited to do this show, and it all got messed up. It just got messed up. I don't know what happened to the show or why it went down the way it did. But the show got ruined, and it was deep. It was dope. We talked about so much stuff. We talked about when they came out on stage and he did the whole thing about this is how you share games. We talked about his career. We talked about the whole rivalry between Xbox and PlayStation and how PlayStation gets indie games. It was sick. It was a great show. Adam Boyes is mad cool, man. He came in. I said, Adam, listen, my bad about the whole thing. Sorry it's taking so long. Don't worry, it's all Gucci. Gucci from Adam Boyes? Jesus Christ. I was just like, what? This is insane. Adam Boyes is cool, man. But listen, we're going to get him back on the show again. We're going to do another interview with him, another recording, streamline it. Hopefully we can set it up this week or next week and get that out to you guys. And hopefully you enjoy the content that we put out. I'm definitely going to be putting out finally releasing the little bit of footage I have from E3 with the Tick Experience 2016 this weekend, along with the Deliver Us the Moon interview. So I'm excited about that as well. And hopefully you guys enjoy that and get a chance to see what E3 was like for us at, for Tick in 2016. So again, check out Multiverse. Multiverse will appear next week, Monday. What time that show come on, Anchor?
8 p.m. Eastern time. You guys can go and check out the new Twitter thing we got flowing up there. It's called Multiverse Show. You can just find it on there. I normally tweet it out a lot if you follow me on Twitter. So you guys can go check out there as well. But yeah, definitely come check us out. I'm actually doing battle right now with some crazy dude, as usual.
Yep. And then, of course, we have Double XP, which is our actual debate show on Famed Entertainment's channel. Definitely check out that. That show gets crazy. That's one of the only shows we have that actually is a mature show. We allow curses. We just don't allow it to go too extreme, and we don't do racial slurs, which is something I have to talk to these guys about. You know, I can't control them on that channel, but I will definitely talk with them because I'm trying to get all of this content up on the new Tick Network channel that's dropping. The Tick Network RSS feed that's dropping this month, where you can get all of our shows on one channel on iTunes, iTunes, Google Play, and Windows, and be able to listen to all these things on the go, at work, at school, whatever you want to do. Of course, Simple Pod Shots with myself, usually on Wednesdays. Tick Podcast Thursdays nights, and Anchorman's Top Shelf, which we haven't had in a while, on Fridays. So hopefully you guys like our lineup of content and you enjoy that. And again, thank you for supporting Tick Podcast. And we were going to start trying to do a Patreon to continue to build the platform. And it'd be great if the guys out there who love us and want to support us, they can support us that way with a donation, and we'll work on that whole thing at another time. But listen, we'll be back next week. We're getting out of here. I'm your host, KLSKL, the last on the planet Xbox with Anchorman V.
Yep. And all I got to say, my final closing words, go buy Sniper Elite 3 and F Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. That's all I got to say.
And unfortunately, without B Money, we're your team and we're off this planet. Peace, guys. Have a great night.